Hello and welcome back to Too Sweet MTG and welcome to another Cube Tuesdays. Today we're going to be talking about one of my favourite cards in all of Cube. Today we're going to be talking about Sneak Attack. So, firstly, Sneak Attack is 3 and a red for an enchantment. It has pay a red, and you may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. That creature gains haste, sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. So, what does it do? What is it good for? So, Sneak Attack is a very broken card. It is the definition of a proper build-around card. Once it's in play, it's just a single red to put the best creature from your hand into play with haste. Yes, it dies at the end of turn, but that's not the end of the world when you've got a ETB effect, you've got an attack trigger maybe, and you're also hitting your opponent for a ton of damage. Think about all the big dumb creatures that you see in a lot of cubes. Maybe a big Eldrazi with Annihilator, you have Archon of Cruelty, you have Grizzlebrand. Sneak attacking these in will really set your opponents back. You also have cards with really cool death effects. Think things like Triplicate Titan or Wormcoil Engine. Sneak attack these in, you'll get the damage, and when they die you'll get a load of 3/3s. Sneak attack is basically really good at winning games. So as a card, it's good. What kind of decks does it go into? For as strong as it is, it does work best in a deck that's already doing similar things, i.e. cheating big dumb creatures into play. So you often see it in a deck that has red and blue, where you have cards like Show and Tell and Sheldok Isle. But in 2023, personally, I like it in other decks. Firstly, I think it's really, really good in Reanimator. A red-black Reanimator deck with Sneak Attack in is really, really strong. You're already running the big things that you want to cheat into play with your reanimation effects. Sneak Attack helps out that strategy, and boy does it. Effectively in that deck, it's another discard spell, as it is technically putting the creature from your hand into your graveyard. The fact that it is coming into play and attacking for a turn while it does that is a huge bonus. Also, as we're seeing a lot of big creatures being printed on artifacts over the last couple of years, the red-black Goblin Welder style of deck really also loves a Sneak Attack. Like Reanimator, it's just another way of sneaking big things into play so you can kill your opponent. And then with your Goblin Welder, you can just bring a big dumb idiot back into play, ready to go again. When should you draft Sneak Attack? So I am personally shocked at how late I have seen Sneak Attack get drafted. Seeing it goes into any deck that's already trying to cheat things into play, and it will be a super strong card in that, people should be snapping it up a lot earlier than they are. I know it's 2023 and there's a lot of new hotness out there, but creatures are getting better, especially the big ones. And Sneak Attack is also very splashable, especially in a world with triomes. I'd personally take this highly in any cube where I saw it. That, I admit, is probably just me, but if you are thinking of doing anything dumb with creatures and trying to cheat them into play early, then I think you snap up Sneak Attack. If you're in that build, you're probably already on the lookout for big creatures, but if you take in Sneak Attack early and you don't have them yet, then that is what you're going to be looking for. Unlike in Reanimator, which we've gone over in a previous video, where Archon of Cruelty is king, in the Sneak Attack deck, Grizzlebrand is by far the best choice out there. New Atraxa could actually be pretty good here, now I think about it. But what these cards do is they're big, dumb, idiot flyers that can draw you cards so that you can cheat more things into play on that same turn. But in any deck running a Sneak Attack, you really want 2 to 3 big, dumb idiots that you can cheat in to win the game. For the rest of the deck, having some card selection will be very important. If you're just in red, then something like a Faithless Looting or other ways of churning through your deck. If you're in blue, like Ponders and Preordains, just so you can kind of help sculpt your hand, get to your Sneak Attack, and it also gives you the ability to find the big dumb idiot as well. Also, prioritize interactions so you can keep yourself alive long enough to do your thing and to get your mini combo off. So, next up, I guess it's good to go over how does Sneak Attack actually play. So firstly, most of the time, Sneak Attack is not a 4-drop. I know it has 3 and a red in the top corner of the card, but it is not a 4-drop, it is a 5-drop. You want to be playing this when you have 5 mana available, so you can activate it straight away and get your value out of it immediately. Sneak Attack is not a card to just run out on 4, give your opponent a whole turn to answer it, and then untap with it. In an ideal world, when you've played Sneak Attack, you cheat in your Grizzlebrand and you win. That's not always going to happen. Because you're trying to get your value out of it straight away, this might mean sometimes it sits in your hand for a little bit longer than you would like. This is better than it being removed because it is your win condition. Think of it almost as a 2-card combo. You really want to have Sneak Attack and a big thing to get value out of straight away before you put it into play. If you're doing stone cold nothing on a turn, then it might be correct to play Sneak Attack out, but that's mainly when you're top decking and things haven't really gone to plan. In those situations, sure, play Sneak Attack and then rip some top decks and hope you get your big thing later on. Once it's actually in play, it is extremely strong. Basically, what it actually reads is that all your creatures cost 1 single red to play. That means your opponent really has to think about what they want to do on their turn. It means that they can never really fully swing out against you. It's just going to slow down the game that nice little bit that you want. because if they swing out against you, you're probably not going to sneak attack in a blocker, but on your turn, you could just untap and sneak attack in 4 creatures and then kill them on the swing back. That ability to dump your hand onto the board out of nowhere and just swing through in 1 Alpha Strike is extremely powerful. If then for some reason you haven't won, you can then decide, do I want to cast my creatures or do I want to sneak attack them into play? If you're looking for blockers, again because things are going badly, playing them out is probably the way to go. But again, the fact that your whole hand basically costs 1 red to put into play means you can spend your mana doing other things, like drawing cards or answering your opponent's board. In terms of like-for-like alternatives, the closest out there is probably Through the Breach. It basically gives you a one-time sneak attack. It's often running cubes that already have sneak attack just to give you that little bit of density that you're after. For a less powerful, but actually still quite solid option that I did enjoy when it was in my cube, you have Perforos Bronze Blooded. As I mentioned earlier, as artifact creatures continue to get better, this will get better and see more play in cubes. If you run Perforos the Bronze Blooded, I would also look at running some other big red creatures as well, something like a big Gisela or maybe a Dragon Lord Ataka. The other alternatives out there are just basically other cheat into play decks like your reanimation spells, your show and tells, your Eureka, your Tinkers, that kind of thing. In terms of power level, what type of cube could it go into? I think it has a place in a lot of cubes. I don't think it really goes in budget cubes. I know it has come down in price a little bit. I'm not sure if that counts it towards them in terms of just an actual cost level. But it won't be as effective in those because the things you're cheating into play won't be as strong, but it will still be extremely powerful. Like it might overpower some of the other archetypes in the cube. Like it might just become like the snappiest of pack one pick ones basically. But any decent power level of cube, I'm thinking, I know it's not modern legal, but like a modern power level cube up. So like modern, legacy, vintage, that kind of thing. I think sneak attack has a place in all of those environments. To me, it's a ton of fun. I'm always a little bit happier having a sneak attack in my deck. But that brings us to the end of the video. Thank you all very much for watching. Do remember to like, share and subscribe, all that good stuff. And until next time, I'll see you soon. Goodbye.